Home Trails podcast presented by me, Ultra Running Sam. Now, this podcast is part of the Home Trails media entity that encompasses our Home Trails documentaries. You may have seen them on YouTube, so where we interview famous ultra runners from around the world and in the UK at the moment. We film them on the trail and in the home, obviously, Home Trails. Get those insights into their training, big races they've done, and then just their background information. Try and dig a bit deeper into what motivates them to go and do these amazing things that they do. Also part of Home Trails is new for this year is our live podcast coming from big races. You may have seen us at the Spine Race in January. We were there doing our thing all week. Later on in the summer, we will be at the Lap in the Lake District, and then keep your eyes peeled for other races where we'll be popping up and doing media coverage for some big races, hopefully. So obviously we have a podcast now, so we'll keep doing this every week, keep churning out the podcasts with famous runners and people in the industry, anyone that we can get on that we feel that you might be interested in related to trail running and ultra running. So on with our guest. Okay, we are recording. So welcome to the Home Trails podcast. Evan, it's Allan, isn't it? Evan and Allan.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Welcome. So Evan, you're this is your first time on the podcast. Is this have you done any podcasts already?
No, this is my first ever podcast, actually.
First of many. I've got a feeling this is going to be a first of many for you. Because for the viewer and the listener, so Evan, you've sort of just come onto my radar literally today. It was my mate, probably our mutual friends, Tom Jolly.
Right.
You met
Wow.
Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you met
Yeah,
Tom.
I did. Yeah.
So Tom put a post on today about singing your praises, and basically saying you are the next top trail runner, ultra runner from the UK. So people need to watch out for you. And you are only, how old are you?
I'm 19.
19. In
Yeah.
19 years. I do remember being 19. It's many years now since I was 20, but I do remember. So Evan, what we've got to do, we've got to do the superhero question. So I gave you like 30 seconds warning on this question. So don't stress too much about it. But basically for the regular listeners, they know what the superhero question is. So all ultra runners are superheroes, and all superheroes have an origin story. So Evan, what's your superhero origin story? How did you go from being normal Evan to being Evan that wins lots of races and does really well at ultras?
Well, do you know what? I think growing up, I was always really competitive. It wasn't a running was always. I just grew up doing that. It was my parents' thing. I was a bit competitive as a child, but quickly sort of went away from running. I really struggled with my nerves, especially. But I always did lots of different sports. I took rugby quite seriously, and then for a long time I was actually really big into judo.
Mm.
And I think doing lots of different sports without knowing it helped me to be the runner that I am now. I think as well, looking back as a child, our summer holidays were often spent. Essentially, they weren't spent at the beach. We used to do lots of bike packing through the summers, so it would be 2-3 weeks on the bike, cycling, 80 to 100k a day. When I was about 8 years old, so without realizing it, endurance sport, endurance activity has always been a really big part of my life. And I think I always realized that in the races when I competed as a child, when it was longer, I used to do better. But obviously, these ultra distance races often have a minimum age requirement. So it was only when I was 18 that I did, well, I was 19 actually. Back in October, I did my first ultra distance race, and I discovered that maybe this is something that I'm quite good at. But I think purely my parents getting me into just doing long hiking trips and long distance cycling from a very young age helps me just with my endurance and the endurance athlete I am today. So
I
yeah.
think I had a quick sort of peruse of your Instagram page, and I noted that you'd sort of you were martial arts were in there, and there was a few snowboarding pictures and videos and stuff in there. So you're quite comfortable in the mountains already then.
Yeah, I'd say that's definitely my happy place. It was actually going back to the Switzerland this weekend was it's been a year since I've been in the Alps, and it really reminded me how much I miss being in the mountains. I mean, I'm lucky enough to live in the Lake District, but yeah, the Alps and the mountains. That's where I'm happiest.
Yeah, but whereabouts are you in the lakes without giving you exact location or?
Yeah, no, based in South Lakes. So I work in Kendal. So
Kendall.
yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So you've grown up with that endurance background with your family and everything, and you live basically in the perfect place for what you want to do. So, I mean, because you've done loads of different sports, do you feel like this is kind of the thing that you found your sport now, or you in the back of your mind are you thinking, well, if I get bored of this, I'll move on to something else, or is it you all in on trail and ultra now?
No, definitely. I think I found that. So I went to sixth form and I finished sixth form, and I thought the the reasonable option would be to go to university. That was what sort of just seemed to be like the good idea. That wasn't really where my head was at. I was trying to um, find a purpose, I guess. Because when you're at school, it's the next year. So, well, I've got GCSEs and I've got A levels. But after I finished sixth form, I knew I didn't want to go to university, and I was a bit lost. And that was when I guess I really picked up running again. I trained for my first marathon. I did the Windermere Marathon in 2024, and just running again. It was like I found this. Yeah, I found a purpose again, I guess. I think, and then when I started training for my first ultra in the Lakes in a Day, and I did that, I think that's when I knew I was kind of all in.
Mm.
I like you say, I think I found it's a weird feeling, but you feel like you find your thing. I don't know how else to explain it, but it definitely felt like I was searching for something, and then with ultra running specifically, I found my passion, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, and I suppose actually it helps that you're actually really good at it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's helped. Yeah, that definitely helps.
Just so sort of fill the listener in and the viewer in. So your first race was what was it? Lakes in the Day?
The Lakes in a Day back in
Yeah.
October. Yeah,
October 24. So literally, you've not even been ultra running for a year, have you? You literally, it's
yeah,
October last year, and you were sixth at that. Great
yeah,
result. Most people would have been chuffed with that.
mm,
Then you got the Bowland Ultra in January, and you were
yeah,
first. And so, how did you that race was, looking at images of that, it was obviously that time of year. I know from sort of being at the Spine race that
mm,
there was a lot of snow about, wasn't there? So
yeah,
uh, to be able to pull off a win, your first win in conditions like that, I bet you must have been chuffed with that.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, because and going back to the Lakes in a Day, all the kit that I was using was all borrowed. I didn't have any of my own kit. I think half of it was my dad's, some of it was my mum's, and so yeah, yeah. But
Are you a family of trail runners then, of fell runners and stuff then?
yeah, my dad especially he's around the UTMB, and I think that's where that initial love for trail running came from. I think it came from my dad. Especially watching him do the UTMB back in, I think it was 2014, was my first sort of insight into that whole world. And then obviously you hear of runners like Killian Jornet, and they were my heroes growing up. So yeah.
Basically, you've lived that life, haven't you, since you were a little kid then.
Mm.
So other results you had February of this year. So after that win at Bowland, you then straight away the next month you were doing Pendle Way in a day, got second there, and then in April, oh, you had March off before, and then raced in April, and
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so I raced in April. That was the first between February and April was the first time I ever put in, I guess, a proper training block for an ultra, where I really took it seriously for the Fellsman. Yeah.
yeah, and you got second there, and then literally you just let last weekend, wasn't it? This week, what are we now? Can't keep track of the days. It's Thursday
Yeah.
today. So at the weekend, Trail Verbier St Bernard. How do you pronounce it? Yeah,
Yeah. Either or.
Bernard. A UTMB race, and you got ninth there. So a top 10 finish in your first UTMB race. You got to be chuffed for that, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Go. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Over the moon, really. Going into the race, I had absolutely no idea what to expect. I mean, I understood it'd be a different level to what I've been used to over here in the UK. Obviously competing with the top guys over on the continent. I knew it would definitely be a step up. So yeah, I didn't really know what to expect, but yeah, just over the moon with the result. Despite obviously, and that's just ultra running. Nothing ever goes perfectly.
No.
And I can appreciate that, even for the people in front of me, they probably had things that went wrong. But yeah, they're really pleased with the result.
Yeah. You got to be, aren't you? I mean, you say that it's like a different level, but those races that you're sort of winning, they're all well-known ultras in this country, aren't they?
Oh yeah. So the Fellsman was one that I've been recommended to do. There's obviously a lot of, I mean, based on the trophy I received from the race, you just see the names on there
Yeah.
that are engraved in the trophy, and it's like, crikey, why my name's next to theirs? Kim Collison and Damien Hall and Jasmine Paris.
Yeah.
So the Fellsman was really well respected race. So it was good to get a really good result on that one as well.
Yeah. I think that's probably, that sort of result is the sort of thing that's triggering the sort of the interest of people of sort of, like Tom Jolly saying, basically Tom Jolly saying that this guy's the next, up and coming trail runner. Do you how do you feel about having that title? I know that's not an official title that's been banded around, but if people start saying that, and I'm obviously saying it on this podcast as well, do you feel like there's any sort of expectations to live up to, or are you just happy just getting into your running and just enjoying it?
I think it's nice to hear that. I think I know ultimately I have a reason for why I run personally. So I'm careful not to get unattached from that. So I have my sort of values of why I run. It's because I love it. It gets me out of my own head, and ultimately I go out and I train and I run because I love it. So, and I think that's why it's the first time I'm doing sport and racing and doing really quite well, because it's something I'm in love with. So yeah, although it's nice to hear that, it's not, I don't, it's not the reason why I keep running. I keep running because I love to.
Yeah, which is, in actual fact, that's got to be, and that's got to be that case, because the results, your results are there already, but those results aren't always guaranteed, are then you can, like, like you've admitted yourself, ultra running is like life, and you have ups and downs. So when you've got moments where you perhaps dealing with an injury or having a bit of a rough year, or things aren't going to plan, if you've got that core love of trail running, then that's the thing that's going to see you through into it, through to the better times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So what's you getting lots of
Yeah, sorry,
notifications on your
Allan.
phone?
I just set that set on the answer.
It's
There you
everyone
go.
commenting and liking your Instagram post. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So tell me about work then. So you work at Pete Bland's then?
Yeah, I work at Pete Band Sports. I've been working there since January, so it's been best part of 6 months now. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, really nice place to work. Obviously, being a runner and trying to take that seriously, working in a running shop, there's definitely some benefits to that. But yeah, it's always been, when I was a kid, I always wanted to work at Pete Bland Sports, because that was where, when I go out and buy my running shoes and my fell shoes, everyone would go there. It's got its name. So
Was
yeah.
that like a strategic thing then? Had you sort of decided, if you go in sort of all in on trail and ultra running, that you've got to put yourself in that sort of environment as well?
Yes, yeah, I think so. I didn't realize how much um, it would help. It would help me. Uh, but yeah, but before, yeah, definitely, quite simply, yeah, I knew that I wanted to take running a bit more serious. I didn't realize how quickly that serious, how seriously it would get.
Mm,
But I knew that ultimately, if I want to get better at running, I better actively put myself in an environment where I'm around runners, around people that know a lot about running, and have contacts and that kind of thing.
yeah, which helps. And if you sort of put yourself in that environment where you're surrounded by the thing that you love, then yeah, they say, don't you, if you do something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So, but I'm sure at times it feels like work when it's busy on a Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I just have to remind
So
myself.
do you sort of tap into the knowledge of people there then? Is there anyone there that you sort of um look up to and get advice from, and sort of I'm trying to think of the word where somebody kind of keeps an eye on you. What's it called? Um yeah, I can't think. My old brain's not
I
working.
know, I know, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's got its history. There's Pete Bland Sports, and obviously his son Matt Bland is the one who heads up the company now. But um, obviously, his parents being legends of fell running and running in the air, running in general. Um, I speak to Anne Bland quite a lot, so that's Pete Bland's wife, and she's especially, and Matt Bland actually especially supported my running, and they obviously know loads of people through the years, legends, and so they definitely good at giving me advice on, because they've seen people in a similar position to
Mm,
me, and yeah, are quite helpful in terms of what routes to what the best route would be for me to
mm.
take, and yeah, and in general, just all my colleagues are really good runners and know the stuff, so and really supportive.
Yeah, you could tap into that. Are they sort of recommending that you do certain races, or are you part of a club, that kind of thing? Are they that kind of practical advice?
Yeah, there's so I was self-coached to begin with, and they've been quite helpful in terms of getting me in touch with the right coach that was right for me, and so yeah, they've been really quite helpful.
Mm. So how's your training sort of changed then? So from going sort of self-led and deciding what you're going to do yourself, how so was this sort of all part of this success that you've had now? Was that, or was this sort of come in now that you've started to have this success? A coach has come on board to sort of refine things for you.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's still really quite recent. It's only about a month that I've been coached, so helped just just getting me in the right place for the cross traversée I've just done. Also helped me to start taking nutrition and fueling seriously for races. That was something I never used to take seriously in the past. So, and I think before, because I run because I love it. It was just I just generally just go running. I'd run every day. Obviously, that's not the best way to go about things. So
It'll get you so far, won't it?
yeah, it'll get me
Yeah.
so far. But I think without realizing it, it's really helped me sort of avoid injury by running the distances I run. It just that likelihood increases. So I think by bringing on a coach, especially just before a big race like this, has helped. I know for a fact it helped a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So were you sort of logging miles and keeping sort of making your own plans, or were you just literally, like you say, just going out and just running how you felt that day?
Yeah, I think yes. To be honest with you, it was more just I'd go running based on how I felt that day.
Mm.
And
That's the Courtney Dauwalter approach, isn't it? That's how she
yeah,
trains. She just goes out, grabs a
yeah,
bag of sweets, and goes.
I heard about that. I heard about that. Yeah, no, that was definitely my approach. I think in order to, mind you, it works for Courtney, but for me to start being a bit more competitive with the guys over in Europe and on the UTMB circuit, I think I understood I needed to take running a bit more seriously, a bit more structure,
Mm.
and that's I've realised that's what's helped in the last month, and I think that's without that, I don't think I would have done as well as I did at the weekend.
Yeah, yeah. So how have things sort of structurally changed then? Are you now only running like 5 or 6 days a week, and how is it structured? Is it a big shake up from what you've been doing, or is it feel like it's sort of attainable quite quickly?
No, I think it's definitely attainable quite quickly. So yeah, I'm running about 6 days a week. I have one proper rest day, which is nice. But I think sometimes I was training doubles, so I'd train twice a day previously. Um, but then what would happen is I'd get a little bit burnt out, and then I'd take 1 or 2 days off.
Mm.
Whereas now I feel I can be a lot more consistent with my training. So I've noticed that just like mileage wise through the week, it's a lot more consistent than it used to be. So yeah, there's a bit more structure. Run one day, 6 days a week, just once per day, and then two sort of harder sessions and one long run. So yeah.
Everything you need. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, absolutely. What about mileage? Sort of, are you going by miles or are you going by time on feet, hours and stuff?
I'm just going by mileage. Well, I say mileage, but I work in kilometers. uh, so
Handy for
yeah,
Europe, that'll be.
yeah. I'm trying to up my. Well, I'll just keep saying mileage, but yeah.
Okay.
So I'm usually around 80K a week at the moment, and I know obviously to compete with the top guys, they're doing a lot more than that, especially the ultra distance athletes. But for now, just keeping in mind my age and the
Mm.
fact that I haven't been doing it that long. I think my coach understands that. Otherwise, I'd be doing 100 up to 120, 40K a week. But now just trying to work smartly and up my mileage slowly
Yeah.
over the months to come.
Yeah, yeah, you've got plenty of time, that's for sure. How do you sort of feel about the whole age issue? Because I know that I'd read some of your posts where you'd said that people had sort of said that you weren't ready for the longer distances at 19. How do you sort of take that on board? Do you take that on board, or how do you feel about that? What's your coach sort of saying about about that sort of comments?
Um, yes, I think it's been mentioned. Sort of typically the younger you are, the better you are on the shorter stuff, and the as you get older, you get better the longer the event goes on. I think noticed. I mean, I love. I think I have a passion for the longer stuff, but also, like I said, based off what I did when I was younger, I think just naturally I built up. Whether it's just slow muscle fibers or whatever, I tend to get better as the race gets longer. Saying that, I'm going to start working a bit more on the shorter stuff as well, just so I increase my longevity in the sport. Because I think running the shorter stuff does also help with the longer stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm definitely keeping that in mind. But I know my passion is ultimately for the longer ultra distance stuff.
I think, see, I've sort of, my opinions on it have kind of changed over the years because I came into ultra running in so it was probably like 2012, something like that, 2011. I think that was 2011 or 2012 was probably my first ultra. And that was still this kind of the era of you get into ultra running in your I mean, I was in my 30s. I'm 45 now. So I was well into my 30s when I started ultra running, and it seemed to be like a bit of a trend. So have you heard? You must have heard of Dean Karnazes. Heard
Yeah.
of Dean? Yeah. So Dean Karnazes' his book, Ultra Marathon Man. So he literally like started ultra running on his 30th birthday, and it was kind of viewed like in ultra running, it was kind of like apart from it being like a middle-aged white male sport, it was, yeah, literally that, like middle-aged people that had sort of slowed down in the marathon running and stuff and wanted to do longer stuff. But now it seems to, and it was always kind of frowned upon, young guys, and even I did it myself. So I'd been ultra running for a few years, and I like met like a young lad on a race, and it was a 50 miler, and I was the usual thing of, so what races have you done before? And it's like, oh, this is my first ultra. And I was like, first ultra, what training have you done for this? And he was like, oh, I did a half marathon. And I was like, so you've gone from a half marathon to a 50-mile ultra? And he
Yeah.
was like, yeah. And I was like, in my head, I was thinking, no, you need to pay your dues. You need to work your way up from a half marathon to a full marathon. Then you need to do a couple of 50Ks before you even start thinking about 50 milers. But since then I've realised that's a load of rubbish, and you can do whatever you want basically. But it's how you approach it, if you're clever with it. So in years after that, I sort of built up a bit of coaching work, and I was coaching people for quite a few years, and I could see for myself people coming into the sport, and wanting to go from just doing a marathon or just doing a 50K to wanting to jump to these big races. And at first it kind of terrified me, setting out plans for them. But I soon realised that if you're clever about it, you can make these jumps. And now, as the years have gone on, even more so now, I'm seeing younger people like yourself coming into the sport, and doing these big races and not being injured and not having to take months off afterwards, because um, training has got smarter. So it's not just a case of, oh, I love running, I've done a 50K, I'm going to go do a 100 miler and just train for it in like 3 months. People aren't doing that. People are a bit more clever with it, and they're training properly for it. So do you feel like you're in a good position now to do well at these long races, when probably a lot of the sort of old guard of ultra running might think that you're too young to be doing it? If that's not too big a question.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, it just reminds me because before I did my first 50 miler to the lakes in a day, the longest I'd done was a sort of a road marathon event. And I think people said the same thing to me. You need to have at least done a 50K race or something something like that before you move up to a 50 miler.
Yeah.
42K to, I think it was something like 83K. was essentially double. It's so yeah. I think I've been quite lucky. I think perhaps because I was just running because I got quite obsessed with it. I could have maybe risked getting injured. But I think as long as you're eating well and you're sort of listening to your body, I think you can run quite far. I don't think it really is based on your age. At least that's what I've found. I think bringing on a coach has been a really good idea for me, because I think, as much as I'd hate to admit, I think it was just a matter of time, because I was maybe just going, enjoying a bit too much. But
You seem like you've got your head screwed on though. That's the thing. So when I think about myself when I was 19 and what I was doing, it involved, I sort of went similar to you. Like I had years of snowboarding, so literally the first thing I ever did with my first paycheck when I was 16 back in 1996 was buy a snowboard. Literally the first wages I got, I went and brought a snowboard. I got a mate that had been on a holiday, and I was like, I want to do that. I really want to do that. And I just took myself off to a dry slope and started and had a couple of lessons, and then taught myself to snowboard. So that was back in the days where the winter of 96, there was like we went to Andorra for our first snowboarding holiday, and there was so few snowboarders around at that point that if you saw another snowboarder on the mountain, you would literally like wave at them and say hello,
I bet, yeah.
and talk to them, because there wasn't that many of us and all the skiers hated us. Um,
I was gonna say, I'm surprised they let you on the mountain.
yeah, so that that's what I kind of like all of my 20s basically was just partying, snowboarding, wakeboarding, just doing as wild as stuff as I could. And then as I kind of like then got into but I say that actually I was in my mid 20s and I then started running, but it was just basically to just keep myself fit and just try to stop putting weight on. And for mental health reasons as well, I ran then. And it wasn't until sort of like later in my 20s that I then got into doing like proper events and started then doing triathlon, and from triathlon then got into ultras and stuff like that. So yeah, so for saying that you're 19, age is just a number, isn't it? So you're 19, but in effect, you know, the history that you've got with your sort of upbringing with your family and being an outdoorsy family and having all that endurance base, you're probably like 10 years ahead of most people anyway, aren't you? Like with that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I've been quite lucky growing up in terms of the chances I got and what I was exposed to. Like I said, with the trips we go away, it wasn't spent on the beach. It was spent 3 weeks, as my dad would say, suffering. Uh, so
I like the sound of your dad.
yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine is he about my age?
Well, he calls it type 2 fun.
Yes, it is.
Lots of type 2 fun. Uh, but yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
I think you've got, obviously it seems like you've got all the perfect scenarios to make a great trail and ultra runner. You've got that upbringing. You've got the love of the sport. You work in the sport. You're doing really well at races. You live in the lakes, so it's almost like if you could sort of create an ultra runner, then basically you're it, aren't you? So
I don't know.
not don't feel like you've got to live up to that.
No.
What sort of what's the deal with sort of sponsors and things like that then? How have people approached you already? I know you're working with Mountain King, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, Mountain King support me with my poles, and yeah, they were the first. They're the only people I'm supported by at the moment. But yeah, I don't know whether to say it on this podcast, but I've been approached recently after the race, and yeah,
Considering
yeah,
offers.
considering it still feels, obviously it just feels a bit surreal because you know, back in October when I did the Lakes in a Day, I didn't even think I'd finished a race. You know, I was told to maybe think about deferring to next year because I hadn't done enough training and that kind of thing. And I mean, even it wasn't until the Fellsman where I really sort of, I guess, started to believe in myself that I could maybe take this running thing seriously. So, I mean, really, yeah, it's been 3 months where I thought, oh crikey, let's see what I can do. And now already, people approaching me, it doesn't really feel, yeah, it's just beginning, but it's hard to explain.
Feels
I
like a
get
dream.
it.
Yeah,
It feels like a dream. It doesn't really feel like,
that you're gonna wake up at
yeah,
any
yeah,
point.
definitely. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Well, I won't ask you which brand it is, but I'm guessing it's a shoe brand.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
wait,
yeah.
yeah. I thought so. Yeah. So you're still open to offers then. So nothing's in writing then.
Yeah, no, nothing's in writing for the moment. I'm just, yeah.
So you heard it here first, folks, on the Home Trails podcast. So he's actively welcoming offers, multi-million pound contracts.
Nah, maybe a few more races still.
Don't undersell yourself. Don't undersell yourself. Um, yeah, that's great. So what does the future hold then? What have you sort of got? Obviously, like for the start of the year, you've had like a busy sort of resume of races. You've sort of blasted through a load and done really well. Are you actively sort of planning far ahead and your goals for the rest of this year and for next year?
I think so. My goal, what I'm working towards, is so the CCC in 2026. Um, that's something I'm looking towards. I think ultimately I want to be competitive in the UTMB World
Yeah.
Series, and hopefully start moving up to the 100-mile distance. Obviously, at the moment, I'm focusing on up to 100k.
Mm.
So I'd like to ideally qualify for the elite entry for the CCC in 2026.
How do you do that
So,
exactly?
so there's so for the UTMB qualifier races like the one I did at the weekend, if you finish top 3, you get automatic entry for the CCC in 2026. So again, nothing's set in the calendar now, but I'm eyeing up potentially a race in November by UTMB again,
Mm.
to get me that qualification spot. Otherwise, it'd be a case of I have enough running stones now from the UTMB to enter the ballot to get into the race. But yeah, so that's my goal. I guess short term, and then short term-ish, and then long term is to gradually move myself up into the 100-mile distance, and yeah, I mean, dream, like I said, when I saw my dad run the UTMB in 2014, would be to race that. And
Mm.
yeah, I
That'd
think
be great.
as an ultra, that, you know, they say the UTMB is the Olympics of ultra running. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And that'd be a great sort of full circle, wouldn't it? Story, going seeing your dad there, and then you get to do. And I'm sure you'll do well at it once you get up to the 100-mile distance. Yeah, it may sort of feel like a bit of a whirlwind, I suppose, for you at the moment that you've sort of getting this attention for doing well. But it is it's credit where credit's due. Your results sort of stand by themselves. So I think if you've got that love for the sport and you're intent on making a career out of it, then I think you're going to do well, mate.
thank you. I mean, that means a lot to you.
You are going to do good. Yeah, I see big things. And And I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I like to secretly, I like to try and get people on that I can see that are doing well. Because I like to I've got this thing about being able to say that I've had quite a few people on like early in their careers. Like I've sort of seen how they're doing well and get them on the podcast, and then they've gone on to do like amazing things and be big in the sport. And I like being able to be sort of credited as having people on for their first podcast. So I'll be making a note of you coming on next time. You join in the ranks of like Jack Scott. He my podcast was the first one that he ever did. So you're in good
Wow.
company.
No, I was looking through. I was looking through the page. Yeah, some of the names. It's yeah, it's
Yeah.
really quite cool. I mean, they're people I look up to. So it's an
Yeah.
honor. It's an honor to be to be.
You're in good company and deservedly so, mate. You're doing great.
Thank you, thank you. It means a lot.
No worries, mate. Well, all the best for for your race later in the year. I'll be watching you on social media to see how you get on, and look forward to seeing the sponsors sort of fighting over you to to get you signed up to a contract. Exciting times. Enjoy it, mate.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
So thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time, mate, and we'll catch up in the future, I'm sure. So thanks for coming on, and thanks for listening, everyone.
Love that. No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem, mate. Cheers.
Cheers. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.